Malcolm X said the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So are you prepared for your next big leadership move? That's the mission of the 19th Annual Women's Leadership Conference on August 31st and September 1st at the MGM Grand Conference Center. Unite with a community of women and men, all professionals committed to growing their skills, their influence, and their impact. So they're ready to step into new horizons in their careers. Because great leaders never stop thinking, learning, and evolving. They're made, not born. To attend this year's Women's Leadership Conference, visit fwle.org today.
Today on CityCast Las Vegas, we're diving into why homelessness in Clark County actually increased over the last 2 years, how the governor's race is heating up as Lombardo and Ford have already started throwing jabs at each other, plus we're hitting you with another Good News Friday. And in our members-only bonus segment, we're diving into how one developer plans to fix one of the Strip's biggest eyesores. It's Friday, July 24th. I'm Jesse Merrick, and here's what Las Vegas is talking about. All right, we're joined today by Michael MJ Lyle of the Nevada Current. Michael, how's it going?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. Layla Muhammad, our EP, is also joining us today. Layla, what's up?
Hey, Jesse, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I have a question for both of you guys. Are you big ice cream people? Are there no dairy intolerances here?
I'm a big ice cream person.
Yeah.
I always say, even if I have a headache, my medicine is ice cream.
Oh, there you go. It always cures it, right? So you guys love ice cream. Would you want to stay in an ice cream themed room, like an ice cream themed hotel room?
I mean, sure. Why not? I think it's better than
do we get free ice cream?
That's actually a really good question. We got to figure that out.
Question.
The reason I asked
the mini fridge is stocked with ice cream that you can't touch. That'd be horrible.
That costs like $50 a scoop.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the reason I asked that though is because Circa and the Museum of Ice Cream actually teamed up, and they're doing like a special themed hotel room over at Circa. There's also going to be like themed cocktail drinks and things like that. But again, we don't know about the mini bar. Is it converted into like an ice cream bar? Mm-hmm. I'd imagine the room is like decked out much like it looks like the Museum of Ice Cream is, with like pink everywhere and sprinkles and all this stuff. But I'm so curious to see like what that looks like. But it got me thinking, like, one, again, staying in an ice cream themed room could be kind of cool. What other themed rooms though would you be like, oh hell yeah, I'm booking that room, like no matter what the cost is?
I keep thinking about like the Coca-Cola factory when we had it, and like all the different Coca-Colas. And like my mom used to be a huge collector of Coca-Cola items, and so I think that would be kind of cool, like bringing that back, but then also having like a hotel themed room out of it, because there's so many different items, and that the Coca-Cola brand like was implemented in so many different items, and so I think that would be a cool thing. I'm not a big Coke drinker, but I just like the idea of like
it just came to mind. I like it.
I'm just looking it up. The Coca-Cola factory is still open, right, MJ?
Is it still open? I thought it would close.
Oh dang.
I think it looks like it's still open. You gave me a heart attack for a second. I was like, oh no, my childhood is disappearing from Las Vegas. But no, it looks like the Coca-Cola store is still open. Listeners, if we're wrong about that, let us know. But jumping off of that, MJ, I think an M&M themed hotel room would be fun.
Yes.
But again, I'm going to want some free M&Ms or something like that.
Yeah. I want it to be like in the billboard, the M&M billboard. That one would be crazy. Yeah. Like where my mind went was like space. I don't know. I've been on a space kick recently. I have no idea why. I think because like we recently watched Project Hail Mary. So I don't know. Maybe some sort of space theme thing. Whether that's like Star Wars or whatever, I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of cool to do something like that. Maybe
turn
have all
off
the
lights
planets
and
or
you
something.
See the stars.
Would you want to watch Rocky sleep as well?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. You got to sit there. He's got to be like right above your face there. That was one of the funniest parts of that movie. My girlfriend and I have been like thumbs downing each other nonstop, because that's like instead of the thumbs up, they do thumbs down for the folks that haven't watched it, because he doesn't quite understand that part of
Fist
like human
my bump.
interaction. Yeah, fist my bump was one of the best lines in that movie. If you guys haven't seen Project Hail Mary, definitely have to check it out. But I'd love to see something like that coming down to the Strip. I think it'd be cool. But in terms of today's show, let's dive into it and get it rolling. I mean, we're hard hitting right off the top here, diving into homelessness here in the Valley. It's actually increased over the last 2 years, right, MJ?
Yeah, to be fair, it's actually increased over the last decade. Last time that we had a point in time report in 2024, I think that was our 13-year high on number of people that we've counted that living on the street or living housing insecure. And so,
that's not
but
great.
Another report came out from a point in time count from January that found yet again a 12% increase. Right now, we're looking at that time they counted 8,859 people that were experiencing homelessness. About 60% were physically unsheltered, while about 40% were either in emergency shelters or transitional housing. Within that, there are subpopulations that have seen some increase, some decreases. Families, as I've reported over the last few years, like the number of families experiencing homelessness has risen dramatically over in years. And once again, this report saw a 15% increase of families and those with children experiencing homelessness. And there's also some stark numbers for the racial demographics. Every year, we see a disparity of Black people experiencing homelessness at higher rates. In previous years, the previous counts, it's been about 30%, but right now it's 42% was the last count. Mind you, that Clark County's Black population is only 11%. And so it's definitely overrepresented in the demographics.
Big time. And just in terms of like the way they go about doing this, like this is a one night count, right? That's how this is done. So the numbers maybe be even a bit underrepresented, right?
Oh, 100%. This is a snapshot, but the snapshot is for sure not really inclusive of people that are fully experiencing homelessness for a number of reasons. They go out in January in the middle of the night and kind of count. They already have like their shelter count, so they know who's in those beds and who's in transitional housing, and then they go a physical count like street by street to kind of see the number. And they do an estimate based on like if they see a tent, they do an estimate based on what's in that tent. But there's sizable demographics that aren't included. So if you're incarcerated at that time, like say you were picked up on offense like camping or sleeping on the sidewalk, which are both misdemeanors in Clark County, Las Vegas, Henderson right now, that's not depicted in this count. If you're in an emergency room at that time, that's not counted either. And so there's a lot of other populations that are experiencing homelessness that aren't necessarily counted. And so this is kind of a snapshot, but the snapshot is definitely an undercount.
One of the things that stuck out to me too in all of this is like just the compare and contrast between us and the Reno area, Washoe County. You know, they actually showed results that were a bit smaller of an uptick for them. Homelessness only increased 1.5% for them over the last 2 years. Like that's pretty promising for them, I would imagine, when they look at those numbers. But it's interesting just because like it's more expensive to live up there. I think like cost of living is roughly 8%, depending on, you know, where you get the information from. So does like Washoe County, do you know if they offer some services that are really helping their percentage compared to like what we're doing down here?
I think they're similar programming up there. I mean, they have their care complex, which is something similar to, I guess, the Courtyard down here. I will say again, like even though it's a smaller increase, it is probably an undercount because there are also other hard to reach areas too in Washoe County, as you can imagine. We're not counting people that might be incarcerated at the time, might be in emergency services. And so even though it shows like less than a 2% in Washoe, like one, that's still a lot of people. And two, they still lack, I think when I talked to the county officials, around 1,000 like housing units that they need to house extremely low income and people experiencing homelessness. So
yeah, the other thing that stuck out to me too, though, like, and it is interesting to see, you know, what we're doing up there, what's going on up in northern Nevada compared to here and everything. But like overall, too, a positive to pull from this is that chronic homelessness actually is down 23%, which I think is a pretty big jump. So Layla, it's not all bad out of this survey, right?
It's good to hear that chronic homelessness is down in 23% from 2024. Seems like a lot. I'm curious to know, MJ, if that's like 23%. Did we grow a lot in chronic homelessness in 2024? And we're seeing those numbers come back down. And what do you think is attributed to that?
So I will say with chronic homelessness, that always remains a high amount because to be considered experiencing homeless chronically, you have to be unhoused for a year or longer and have some type of struggling with either mental illness, a physical disability, substance abuse. And so that's what categorized. And so that is a very hard subpopulation to interact with. And again, this is the population that actually is most likely to either end up incarcerated in jail for a short period of time or in emergency room. So even though it is probably a good number or a good thing that we see a drop, there is a lot of caveats with those numbers too, because we could be missing part of that population in other areas. And so I will say that there has been an expanding of some services, like the county opened their navigation center, which is like a non-congregate shelter where people kind of stay to a room. And so I think that can help catch some of those. They're still kind of experiencing homelessness, but they're off the physical street. But again, like these numbers come with a lot of caveat. And even I've talked to other groups about kind of decreased numbers, and they're kind of skeptical about some of those decreases too, because again, there's so many aspects of how we view and count homelessness that is not reflected in this report.
Yeah,
not to be a Debbie Downer, my God.
No. I mean, look, we got to keep it real about this. Again, it's a difficult thing to figure out. And again, too, going off of one night, it's just one day count. Like that again leaves a lot, I think, up in the air. But again, the promising part too, and I don't know when the spending started, but at least through 2027, the county has committed to spending $252 million towards different services and shelters and things like that. So maybe, we continue trending in the right direction there. Hopefully, at least, you would hope. There's also, too, one of the things, like they have 31 rapid housing programs, at least the millions of dollars more that they're committing to getting things like that going in the Valley. So hopefully it's a step in the right direction, and hopefully things start to just kind of get moving. Maybe, I think more than just a smaller jump forward. Hopefully our numbers look a little more similar to what we saw up in Washoe County, rather than these, double-digit jumps. With temperatures hitting triple digits, checking in on an aging parent or loved one becomes more than a nice gesture. It's about safety. Dehydration and heat exhaustion hit seniors fast, and a regular caregiver in-home means someone's actually there to notice the signs. And that's where Touching Hearts comes in. Touching Hearts at Home is a locally owned home care agency right here in the Las Vegas Valley. For them, care is both a promise and a practice, with caregivers who are trained, background checked, and thoughtfully matched to each family. Touching Hearts at Home serves seniors, people living at home with medical conditions or disabilities, or anyone over the age of 18 who can benefit from the help of a professional caregiver. So head to touchinghearts.com/Henderson to set up a free consultation, or give them a call at 702-514-0908. That's 702-514-0908. And say local, and they'll walk you through what support could look like for your family. And if you mention CityCast, you'll get 15% off your first month of service. All right, as we move along now, let's talk about the governor's race. Layla, it kind of feels like things are heating up here because we're seeing more and more of the interactions, I think, between Lombardo and Ford, right?
Yeah, just under 4 months to go, so things are going to be ramping up. We're probably going to see more political ads coming through. But a new poll is fueling talk of our dead heat governor's race in Nevada. This comes from reporting from the Nevada Independent. This survey from Democratic-aligned firm Public Policy Polling, say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Thank you for saying it for me.
Yeah, right. Found Republican Governor Joe Lombardo and Democratic Attorney General Aaron Ford tied at 44% support each, with 12% still undecided. The poll surveyed 558 Nevadans with a 4.2% margin of error. And it just reinforces how neck and neck this race has been with less than 4 months until Election Day. Some election experts have been saying that Lombardo is the most vulnerable incumbent governor in the country this cycle. And the Democratic Governors Association's political director called the numbers a significant warning sign for him. Public polling in this race has been limited. We haven't seen a lot, but every release so far has had Lombardo ahead by no more than 3 points. Interestingly,
within the margin of error.
Within the margin of error. Interestingly, 55% of all respondents said Nevada is on the wrong track, and that number jumps to 74% among Latino voters, which is a group both campaigns are fighting hard for. This survey, of course, comes right after Lombardo's viral moment of the body cam footage from a May traffic stop showed the governor telling an officer that I'm Joe Lombardo.
It's gone viral, yeah.
Yeah, definitely talk of the town. And he was allowed to drive off without a ticket. Clips racked up over 1 million views on X alone. And Ford's campaign has definitely been leaning into it.
Yeah. So what exactly do we make again of this poll? Because I mean, like, I want to clarify too, like 558 Nevadans were polled. It's not some massive number, still important. I'm not discrediting the thing, but less than 1,000. I mean, God, just barely over 500 really that were polled in here. So much like with our previous topic, got to take it with a grain of salt. But
Yeah.
MJ, what do you read into this poll? Like, what do you think it actually means that they're this close at this point in the election?
I'm one of the people that are very skeptical of polls, and
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
there's so much that they can't see, and so I do take that with a huge grain of salt. But when I look at this and like I'm always frustrated with the question that like heading the wrong direction, because that doesn't
Yeah.
illuminate what you think the right direction is and what the
Mhm.
wrong direction is. And so we don't know if that means that we're heading in the wrong direction because people want Joe Lombardo to be far right in how he has handled the state, or if we want like a very more people want better response to like housing policy and renter
Yeah.
rights and stuff like that. So we don't know like what this actually means. And so I always take it with a grain of salt. I
Yeah.
think one thing that also stands out with me is just how many people kind of were unsure as far as their favorability of Aaron Ford. I think 39% said that they weren't sure for him. And so I think there was also a lot of people that are still familiarizing themselves with who these candidates are. And so, yeah, I take a huge grain of salt with any type of polling, and know that in the past, polling both local and especially national has been really bonkers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And taking into account, too, that this is a poll that was commissioned by a Democratic aligned firm. And you can kind of see that in some of the questions are.
Yeah, they definitely slant a certain way. Like,
slanting more towards Ford and being critical of Lombardo in some of their questions. So that, you know, like we've said here, has to be taken with a grain of salt. But the fact that multiple surveys and polls are putting them neck and neck within 3 points of each other, I think that speaks to how close this race is and kind of backs up experts saying that Lombardo is in a vulnerable position this cycle.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing is like it almost like with this coming out, and then obviously everything that went down with the Joe Lombardo getting pulled over and everything, kind of seems like he's in even shakier territory here because of how much that exploded. Because before, like, what was it, a couple weeks ago, we did on the podcast where we talked about Republican aligned groups / like Lombardo backers have spent $13 million on ads, whereas Ford's side and the Democrats have only spent, at least up to that point, $77,000. I mean, it kind of feels like the whole Lombardo fiasco with getting pulled over might have leveled the playing field a bit and gave them, I guess, a more bang for their buck thing to go ahead and attack, because we've seen Ford jump on that.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a stress test for their campaign, and kind of shows the value of like earned media and not paid media or political ads. That can go a long way.
It sure can.
This viral traffic stop was picked up by Fox News, New York Times, TMZ, People Magazine. So it definitely reached far, probably farther than a lot of the political ads, the local and state political ads will go.
Yeah.
People tune that stuff out a lot, right? Like, this is different because this feels more real life, I think, when something like that happens. You're like, oh, this is a peek into the reality.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if this dies down within the next 4 months, and if Lombardo's spending edge will make a difference. But I don't know. Nevada is very reliably purple. I don't think the timing of this viral moment was in Lombardo's favor, but I think either way it's going to be a close race.
And at the end of the day, people vote with their pocketbooks and how they're feeling about the economy too, which can change on the dime. Right now, gas is going up again, but things can change on the dime. We still have so much time, and voters' minds kind of change on the spot sometimes. And so I think it's what the financial impact looks like just a few weeks before early voting start. That's going to be an indicator of, I guess, whether people feel that they need a different choice, or if they feel that Lombardo has put the state on the right track. And so it's going to come down to how their bank accounts look as early voting starts.
Yeah, it definitely plays a big role in it. One thing that's interesting to me in all of this, and that I kind of pulled from this poll, was one of the questions there, because, you know, Ford's side has tried to link Lombardo to Trump. Lombardo, at least for a while, had tried to show like, oh no, I'm distancing myself from him. Then the audio came out talking about Lombardo saying like, because of the relationship that he has with Trump, that's stopping ICE from marching down the strip. But then they go look at this poll, 53% of people say that they don't think that Lombardo has distanced himself enough from Trump, or at least effectively, and 30% actually say that they think that he stands up to the president the right amount. So that, I think, is an interesting thing to watch because that seems so critical in this as well.
Yeah. This report from the Nevada Independent pointed out that Trump's approval ratings are down.
Yeah.
Both Lombardo and Ford don't have the best approval ratings. But I think it's interesting that Ford's campaign is using this viral moment, kind of aligning it with like different rules for powerful people.
Yeah.
And
that speaks to people right now, too.
Yeah. Yeah, that can be looked as aligned with Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And tying it in with affordability, tying it to his proximity to Trump, I think they're really leaning hard into this viral moment as a campaign strategy and tying it to some of those threads that they've been using.
Yeah, and this is only the beginning. It's really heating up. So stay tuned. We're going to see more and more ads. And I think the fascinating part in all of it is just seeing what each side jumps on. And obviously now it seems that the Democratic side has a lot more to jump on. So I'm sure some of those ads are going to be cranking out big time in the coming weeks and months.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Woo. So excited.
Yeah. Get ready to get your thumbs ready to mute the TVs.
Right.
Step into the movies with the Neon Museum's new movie tour in the heart of Las Vegas. Take a guided walk through real neon backdrops that have lit up some of Hollywood's most memorable scenes. It's perfect for film lovers and Vegas fans who want to see the city through a cinematic lens. You can explore glittering neon landscapes that have actually appeared on the silver screen and see how Las Vegas has been portrayed in classic films and modern blockbusters over the decades. Discover how the La Concha lobby was a key setting in Martin Scorsese's 1995 film, Casino, and stand where Robert De Niro and Sharon Stone filmed their romantic evening as Ace and Ginger. You can trace even more movie history from pre-code Hollywood all the way to contemporary blockbusters to discover how Las Vegas earned its reputation as the entertainment capital of the world through film. Hear insider stories and fun trivia that bring these movie moments to life and capture unforgettable photos surrounded by the glow of real Hollywood-used neon. Join fellow cinephiles on a one-of-a-kind tour that turns the Neon Museum into your own movie set. Get your tickets today at neonmuseum.org. All right, so as we're going to be bombarded with all kinds of ads and, political campaigning and everything that we all just hate, how about we talk about some good stuff? We debuted the segment last week, Good News Friday, where we all get to share something good that happened this week, something we found out about here in Las Vegas, whatever it is that just makes you feel good about being a Las Vegas local. So I'm going to start it off. We talked about Paw Patrol LV and the fact that their thermal drone got destroyed. They had, jumped on Facebook and were asking for help to be able to buy a new one because those things are expensive. They didn't have the funding to do it. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Somebody stepped up from Montana of all things. So it shows the reach and the legs that this thing got. Mm-hmm. Partially, I want to say, maybe because we talked about it. I saw Fox 5, jumped on board as well. So just other people helping bring awareness to it. But we got to give a shout out to the owner of Crosswinds Inn in West Yellowstone, Montana. Apparently, he generously donated a full brand new drone to them. So the cost completely gone, gave them a total new drone. And Paw Patrol LV actually said on their Facebook page that now the funds that were donated to them will go potentially towards helping pay for more services, but also an extra drone so that they have more in case something like this happens in the future. So I just love that one, somebody in the community stepped up, and two, now they do have some funds to be able to invest further in their organization to do even more good things with helping just animals in distress here in the Valley.
Yeah, it's making me wonder if they're using thermal drones to find pets in Montana.
Yeah, I do wonder. That's my first thought was okay, what are they doing with one at a hotel? Because again, the Crosswinds Inn, I'm like, what does a hotel have a thermal drone for? So yeah, interesting. All right, so MJ, let's go to you. What was your good news of the week here?
Yeah, I recently stumbled across this silent reading club called Las Vegas Page Turners. They have a bunch of events around town where they are just essentially meeting at bars and coffee shops where they're just kind of reading as a group. You don't have to read the same book. Everyone has a different book. And so I went and joined in recently, and it was a lot of fun. I'm an avid reader. It helps me put my phone down and not doom scroll, which I'm also an avid doom scroller. But it helps me
aren't we all?
Moderate. Yes, it helps me moderate. And it's nice to find a community to do that with, like, and just kind of other people that just want to sit and chill and read at a bar or read at a coffee shop and kind of
Nice.
in this collective group. And then you could also like chat with other people to see what they're reading, get other recommendations. And so they have a bunch of events through the end of the month. I'm sure they're going to announce their August lineup soon, but it was a cool discovery. My friend actually invited me because she discovered it. Shout out to Carolina that she discovered it and invited me to go with her. And I really loved it. Like, and I can't wait to join in again.
Nice. Where was it?
So I went to the one that was at Bad Beat Brewery,
Nice.
Bad Beat Brewing. My God, all the alliterations this
Triple
morning.
B's,
is
triple
like,
B's.
yeah. But I had never like that was I. That's funny. It was the second time I've been there, but the first time was the night before for a birthday party. But it was cool. Like they're picking some spots that I actually have not been to before, and so it's going to be like a double bonus of one going to read and two trying venues that are new to me. So.
And experiencing those venues like in a different way, because like how often are
Yeah.
you going to some of these places to read? And I think that's cool. Like I was in Chicago last year and stumbled upon this like book bar, and
Yeah.
it was really cool because they're
Ooh.
serving up
That's
like
cool.
killer cocktails. Yeah, and just about everybody in there. This was on a Saturday night too. Just about everybody in there is reading. You know, and I was
So
like, "Oh, this
awesome.
is really cool."
Is
And
music playing?
like very low, and it
Okay.
wasn't like distracting music. Yeah, but it was like it was just a vibe. Like me and my buddy were sitting at the bar, and everybody in the back was like reading and everything. But then there were tables and groups of people that were chatting like a quote unquote normal bar scene, you know.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of cool to see it like mixed like that, you know. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's something that's badass. Like that, I think. My initial thought was like Vegas is missing something like that is like a quote unquote book bar that leans
Yeah.
into like they have like a library of books all on the wall that you can just grab your cocktail and walk up and grab.
yeah.
So I think something like this is cool that maybe it starts a trend like that.
Yeah, I think it would be a great third space. And
Yeah.
thinking about
Yes.
what you were saying, MJ, about limiting doom scrolling, in our Keep It Local out yesterday, our new newsletter, we have a feature on Mahjong. Which,
Oh.
like, you know, put
Oh my
your
gosh,
phone
I
down
wanna go
and
see
connect
that.
with
Yeah,
someone.
I wanna go do
connect
that.
with someone and play Mahjong.
I've always
so it
wanted to
kinda
learn how to
reminds me
play,
of like getting
so-
out into these third spaces and doing
Yeah.
something different instead of like sitting at a bar and scrolling on your phone possibly, or like looking at a screen, engaging in someone, learning a new game or reading a book.
Yes.
That's so fun.
Yeah, there's some, even though it's funny because like on the surface level, like staring at a book, staring at a phone, is it really that different? Mentally, it definitely is. But like
Yeah,
the visual of it, you know, you just look so
Yeah.
much smarter when you're staring at a book rather than a phone, obviously, and much
Oh,
more
it's
social. I think.
it's totally
It is
different.
way different. It totally
Yeah.
is. But I think when you just think about it like in the act itself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like it is definitely
Okay,
way
yeah.
different. I totally agree. But I love it, man. I think that's really cool. Layla, for you, what's your good news of the week?
Yeah, so my good news for this week is the Las Vegas Historic Preservation Commission held their regular meeting on Thursday, and Jay Dapper gave updates on the Huntridge Theater. It's kind of a mixed bag. They're still looking for a private-public partner to fill the space that Soho House is leaving, because Soho
Yeah.
House, that partnership is no longer a thing with the Huntridge Theater. So they're still looking to, they still have a ways to go before they have a tenant in there who's paying rent. They're doing some kind of survey to evaluate some nonprofit potential partners.
Yeah.
But the highlight of this is that when asked if he plans to finish his part of the construction and getting this up and open by the end of the year, Jay Dapper said there's still a lot to go, but yes. So
Wow.
fingers crossed we get the doors open on the Huntridge Theater by the end of this year. That seemed like big news to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've heard this story before.
I was going to say, as somebody who's remodeling their home and has been saying like, oh, is it going to be done this year? Yeah, there's still a long way to go, but it's going to
Right.
be done. I've been saying that for like 4 years. So I don't know, maybe I don't interpret it as good news, but at least it's a step in the right direction. He's still
Yeah,
saying the
it's-
right things.
Exactly. It's a step in the right direction. We're hearing something. There's some kind of update. I know, you know, as someone who is in that neighborhood every Tuesday for trivia at Jive Turkey,
Yeah.
shout out to the best trivia master, Jason Harris. I would love to see Hunter's Theater open, I think it would bring a totally different
it'd be so
vibe.
badass, yeah.
Maybe that can open at the same time traffic clears up, and then it was just like everything lines up.
If they can line it up,
God.
it'll be magical.
You just triggered me, MJ. I don't know why I say accidentally, but I accidentally ended up stuck on Charleston. And it's like, now I remember why I've avoided this damn street for so long.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
ugh, I can't
It's
wait till
getting
that's
better.
done.
It's
Yeah,
getting better
slowly
but surely. But hearing some kind of update this week from Hunter's Theater and Jay Dapper was my highlight. I was really excited about that.
Yeah,
No,
no, I
that's
think
awesome.
that's cool. Again, a step in the right direction of something that I think a lot of people are very excited about. We just all want to see it finished, and hopefully that does happen fairly soon to really kickstart the revitalization efforts in that area. All right, it's time now for our members-only bonus segment, and today we're diving into how a new hotel project could eliminate one of the Strip's biggest eyesores. But guess what? You're only going to hear this bonus segment if you're one of our CityCast Las Vegas neighbors. So, if you want to unlock access to today's 4th topic and every other piece of bonus content we crank out each week, and also take advantage of all the other great perks of being one of our neighbors, head to membership.citycast.fm/Las Vegas to sign up. So with that, we'll
There it
dip
is.
and get to work on that. Thank you guys for your time today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Jesse.
That's all for today here on CityCast Las Vegas. Our executive producer is Layla Muhammad. Our creative producer is Jacob Solis. Our newsletter editor is Rob Katzelreese. And I'm your host, Jesse Merrick. Music is by OG Moose. We also have additional production support by Katie McMurrin. Our ad music is by Sven Lindvall and Sarah from Epidemic Sounds via Getty Images. We record this show on the traditional homelands of the Nuuvi, the Southern Paiute people. And if you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our free morning newsletter as well. And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Las Vegas neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Las Vegas. We'll be back on Monday with more news from around the city. Until then, though, take care and have a great weekend.